Archeo Quest is here to take you on an adventure through time with Manny Moreno. Hi, I'm Manny Moreno, and welcome to Archeo Quest. If your heart races at the thought of lost cities and ancient artifacts, you're in the right place. Join me as we explore the thrilling world of archaeology. Hit that subscribe button and join me on Archeo Quest. Explore, discover, learn. Adventure awaits.
Hey there, fellow questers. Welcome to Archeo Quest, the podcast where we explore the fascinating world of archaeology. I'm your host, Manny Moreno, and today we're going to talk about one of the most important aspects of archaeology, dating artifacts, so stay tuned. When it comes to dating artifacts, archaeologists use a combination of relative and absolute dating methods. Relative dating methods tell us how older or younger an artifact is compared to another, but it doesn't give us an exact age. Absolute dating methods, on the other hand, tell us the exact age in calendar years. When it comes to relative dating methods, there are several techniques that archaeologists use. One of the most important one is stratigraphy. Stratigraphy is based on the principle of superposition, which states that older layers are buried beneath younger layers. Imagine a laundry basket filled with dirty clothes. The socks at the bottom are likely older than the shirts in the middle, which are older than the towels on top. Another relative dating method is typology. Typology involves analyzing the style and design of the artifacts to determine their age. Typology is based on the idea that artifacts with similar characteristics were more than likely produced during the same time period. For example, let's say we're on an excavation site and we see a bunch of pottery charts scattered on the floor, like what you see behind me. At first, they might all look the same, but upon closer inspection, we notice that some of these charts have a distinct design, like a spiral pattern. We can use this design to create a typology of the pottery. We might start by grouping all the pottery charts with the spiral design together. Then we might notice that some of these charts have a slightly different shape or size. We can create subgroups within our typology to reflect these differences. We can start to see patterns and trends that can help us date the site. For example, we might notice that the spiral design is only found on pottery from a certain time period. This can help us narrow down the date of the site. Typology can be applied to all sorts of artifacts, not just pottery. For example, we can use typology to date tools like stone knives or axes. We can also use it to date other types of artifacts like jewelry or clothing. One of the advantages of typology is that it can be used on a wide range of artifacts, even if they're not in great condition. It's also a relatively quick and inexpensive method compared to some other dating methods. However, typology does have some limitations. For example, it is based on the assumption that artifacts with similar characteristics were produced during the same time period. But this isn't always the case. Sometimes artifacts can be made in a similar style, but at different times. Despite these limitations, typology remains a powerful tool for relative dating. By analyzing the style and designs of artifacts, we can gain a better understanding of the past and how different cultures developed over time. Now that we've discussed relative dating methods, let's talk about absolute dating methods. Absolute dating methods can provide an exact age in calendar years. So how does C14 dating work? Well, it's based on the idea that all living organisms absorb a small amount of radiocarbon-14 from the atmosphere and food chain. The carbon-14 decays at a steady rate with a half-life of about 5,730 years. When an organism dies, it stops absorbing new carbon-14 and the existing carbon-14 begins to decay. By measuring the amount of carbon-14 left in an organic material, researchers can calculate how long ago it died. The process of C14 dating involves several steps. First, researchers collect a sample of organic material from the artifact or site. This could be a piece of wood, a bone, or a fragment of fabric. Next, the sample is cleaned and prepared for analysis. This involves removing any contaminants or modern carbon-14 that may have been introduced during the sampling process. The prepared sample is then sent to a laboratory for analysis. The lab uses a technique called accelerator mass spectrometry, or AMS, To measure the amount of carbon-14 in this sample, this technique is highly sensitive and can detect very small amounts of carbon-14. By comparing the amount of carbon-14 in the sample to the amount of carbon-14 in living organisms, researchers can calculate how long ago the organism died. This is known as the radiocarbon age. However, radiocarbon dating is not without its limitations. For example, it can only be used to date organic materials such as wood, bone, or fabric. It's also limited to dating materials that are up to around 50,000 years old. Despite these limitations, radiocarbon dating has revolutionized the field of archaeology. It's allowed researchers to build a more accurate timeline of human history and has helped us better understand the cultures and societies of the past. One of the most significant advantages of radiocarbon dating is its ability to provide an independent check on the historical record. By dating organic materials found at archaeological sites, researchers can verify or challenge the accuracy of historical accounts. For example, in the 1940s, archaeologist Willard Libby used radiocarbon dating to test the traditional chronology of ancient Egypt. His results confirmed the accuracy of the historical record, providing a major breakthrough in the field. Today, radiocarbon dating is widely used in archaeology, anthropology, and related fields. Its applications continue to expand from dating the earliest human migrations to analyzing the impact of climate change on past societies. Now that we've covered some of the absolute dating methods, let's talk about the importance of context in dating artifacts. Context is everything in archaeology. It's like trying to understand a conversation without knowing who's talking, where they are, and what's happening around them. When we find an artifact, we need to consider the layer it was found in, the other artifacts it was found with, and the overall site layout. This helps us understand the relationships between different artifacts and layers. For example, if we find a pottery chart in a layer that's known to date to the Neolithic period, we can use this information to date the pottery chart. But if we didn't know the context of the layer, we wouldn't be able to date the pottery chart accurately. As archaeologist Hodder notes, context is not just a matter of where something is found, but also of how it is found and what it is found with. Now let's take a look at some case studies to illustrate how dating methods are used in practice. One example is the dating of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls are a collection of ancient texts that were discovered in a cave near the Qumran, Israel in the 1940s and 1950s. The scrolls were initially thought to date to the medieval period, but using radiocarbon dating, researchers were able to determine that the scrolls actually dated to the 2nd century BC. Another example is the dating of the ancient city of Pompeii. Archaeologists used a combination of stratigraphy and absolute dating methods to determine that the city was destroyed in 79 AD. The dating of Pompeii was a complex process that involved several different methods. First, archaeologists used stratigraphy to reconstruct the site's history. They excavated the site and recorded the different layers of soil and debris. Next, they used absolute dating methods to determine the age of the different layers. They used radiocarbon dating to date organic materials like wood and bone, and potassium-argon dating to date minerals like pumice and rock. Finally, they used the results of the absolute dating methods to refine the site's chronology. They combined the dates from the different layers to create a detailed picture of the site's history. Now it's time to test your knowledge. Take this short quiz to see how well you've been paying attention. Question 1. What is the principle of superposition in stratigraphy? A. Older layers are buried beneath younger layers. B. Younger layers are buried beneath older layers. C. Layers are deposited in random order. D. Layers are deposited in a specific pattern. Question 2. What is the half-life of radiocarbon C14? A. 5,730 years. B. 10,000 years. C, 20,000 years, D, 50,000 years. What is the name of the technique used to measure the amount of C14 in a sample? A, accelerator mass spectrometry, AMS. B, radiocarbon dating, RCD. C, potassium-argon dating, PAD. And D, uranium-lead dating, ULD. And these are the answers. If you answered all three questions correctly, congratulations. You are now an official Archeo Quest expert. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Archeo Quest. We've explored the fascinating world of archaeological dating methods, from relative dating to absolute dating, and the importance of context. We've also looked at some case studies to illustrate how these methods are used in practice. From the Dead Sea Scrolls to the ancient city of Pompeii, we've seen how dating methods can help us uncover the secrets of the past. Thanks for joining me, Manny Moreno, on this journey into the world of archaeological dating. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to discuss, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes of Archeo Quest. And remember, explore, discover, learn. Adventure awaits. Archeo Quest.
If you're a history buff, you need to dive into Archeo Quest with Manny Moreno. Thanks for exploring with us today. If you love the adventure, smash that like button, share the journey with friends, and subscribe for more epic discoveries. Don't miss out on our next quest. Hit that bell icon to stay in the loop. Keep exploring, keep discovering, keep learning. See you next time on Archeo Quest.